Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Big Country here with my new podcast, The Lived Experience Uncut, a place where we bring people to share their life experiences and their life's journey. Welcome to the ride, y'all. Let's go. Yeah, yeah, man. Hey, man. I'll tell you what, man. It's good to have you back, though.
Yes,
Yesterday
sir.
we, yesterday we had a little bit of technical difficulty. So, hey, look, everybody, welcome back to the Lived Experience. I got my homeboy here, Brian Wilson.
Yes, sir.
He came to tell us the story today. I'm gonna title this one as "Prison to Trucking."
Prison to
You
trucking.
know what I'm saying? Prison to Trucking.
Okay.
I try to make a title, man, but sometimes my thought process is just kind of like all over the place. But hey, man, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Uh Again, Brian Wilson. For those that don't know, 37 years old. Like you said, from prison to trucking. That took up a chunk of my life. So I spent 12 years, 3 months, and 2 weeks in Virginia Department of Corrections due to, you know, decisions I've made that
Right,
was
right,
young when I was younger. And now I'm here. Now I'm
right,
here.
right. I tell you what, give us a little bit of backstory. Tell us how. I guess start from your childhood, man. How where do from what at what point you had this transition?
So um I was raised with my grandmother, like I said, in South Virginia, and my mom, she was on drugs. So by the time I was 4 months old, according to my grandma, of course, she had been raising myself, my brother,
Hmm.
along with two other sets of siblings.
Okay.
So my two aunts, they were also addicted to drugs. So
Wow.
their two daughters, so that's four daughters, and then myself, my brother, and all of our fathers was absent from the picture, so that
Oh
left my
wow.
grandmother to bear the burden of that.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
coming up in that environment, you exposed early because my grandmother, she couldn't really get around that well, so we were in the streets essentially when we weren't supposed to be. So it started off kind of early. Um, the first time I got locked up, I was like 8 years old.
Eight,
8
man.
years old, yeah,
What in the world did you do at 8?
for breaking in a house. Broke into a house. Yep.
Wow.
Got caught. Got locked up, and for like a week. And just like from that point, just had behavioral issues, like back and forth, getting suspended from school. And I'll tell you something too, Big Country. I didn't recognize this until later that it was because I started to get an understanding and awareness for the conditions that we was in. Like
Hmm.
I couldn't identify my feelings then, but I was acting out of the depression of being in poverty, and
Right. Right.
what I'm saying, not feeling like I received any love from either parent, mother or father.
Okay.
And it was just my grandmother. So
Gotcha. So you feel
mhm.
like the path that you took stem from, for the lack of better words, do you think it's because you didn't have a father in your life, or it was just maybe just the group of people that you was hanging with, or
Mm,
what do you think?
I think it was, I must say, structure in general, and
Okay.
influence too, because when you guided by, what I'm saying, like a bunch of little kids, your little peer group, like they don't know any better. So we
Right. Right.
really influenced by the music we listening to.
That's true.
You know what I'm
That's true.
saying?
Yeah.
We see in the environment what's going on in it, and you get to gravitating towards the people that gravitate towards you. So the
Yeah.
older street dudes, you know what I'm saying, they essentially showing you what you shouldn't be doing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But that's
Right.
what looks like is right. So
I got you.
it's just no having the wrong influence. I'll say that.
So
Yeah.
so what were you so what did you do when you first came out of prison?
And when I first came out of prison, I moved to Richmond.
Okay.
So I stayed home for like 4 months. Moved to Richmond. We started a tech company while we was in prison, and
Okay.
it was called My Event Advisor.
Right.
Uh, Essentially, it was a platform that you could find anything you needed for the hosting event: DJs, caterers,
Hmm.
hosts, photographers. You can book venues and all of that. And that took us to Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And We was just trying to build it, man. But
Man, Atlanta, Georgia, man. That place is different over there.
it's a
That place is
little
different over
different.
there. Over there, I mean, from what they tell me, you don't know what you're getting over there. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I try to stay away from Atlanta. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'll say everybody hustles there, you know what I
okay.
mean? And they don't hide it. So I think you will know what you get. Like it's open.
Right,
It's
right,
wide
right,
open.
right,
It's
right,
wide open there, man.
right, right. Hey,
But
man. So tell me, man. I mean, what was life like in prison?
boy, man. So
That was, I know that was a loaded question, right?
yeah, yeah, prison. It was an experience because I give you this, right? So the first day I get there, we went to Lawrenceville. That's why I went to. I went to Lawrenceville Correction Center. If you know anything about it, you're in the Virginia Department of Corrections. Like Steve Harvey, it was on his morning show one time because at the
Okay.
time of like oh wait, I think they had a huge prostitution ring going on there,
Oh, wow.
right? So Lawrenceville was a place that in the prison system everybody wanted to get to because it's
Mhm.
considered a money compound. Like, you know what I'm saying? Basically, it was a private owned prison at the time, so anything goes. You could get your hands on basically anything there, just like you in the streets. You got
Right.
access to it there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so, the first day I get on the compound, one of the COs she taking us to the pod we can be in. So she like, yeah, y'all gotta be careful in here because they be robbing people and all this and that, right? So we ain't tripping because you thinking about what you see on TV about prison, so you kind of
Right.
already go in there, you know what I'm saying, kind of like prepared, right? So when you get in the pot, as soon as the door opened, just the smell of marijuana just hit you
Right.
like fresh.
Right.
You see dudes underneath the stairs, literally shooting dice, smoking smoking right there, shooting dice. She like, and then she's just walking past it. She's not saying anything. This is like day one. She's not saying anything. She's just walking past it. And it just so happens it was somebody from my neighborhood who was sitting at the top of the stairs. When he see me, he recognized me,
Mm.
and we started conversing. But she was just saying it was nothing like what she was saying. It was just like it was almost as if like the closest thing basically you would get to the street.
Oh,
It looked like a
wow.
little apartment units there, and it's like everything was wide open. Everybody the same way in Atlanta. Everybody in there had some sort of hustle going on. Yeah,
Wow. So this what did you call it again? Event
my event advisor.
My event advisor. All
Yeah.
right. So what was it that y'all did again with this?
So my event advisor again, like it was it's an
And I'm
app.
sorry. And did that start in prison? You
Yeah,
did.
yeah, 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 yeah. The
Okay. Okay.
design, like I said, shout out to like everybody that was on the team, man. Worked with some brilliant people. Javon Watson, he created it.
Okay.
Um, along with Travis Wilson, Christopher Wilson, and my main man Kevin Bass. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And Shane Guest too. All of those brilliant brothers. But Javon Watson, he designed the app, and it started off as a website first,
Okay.
and he just transformed it to an app. So we hired an app development company. So Christopher Wilson went home first. He began running it. You know what I'm saying? And when Javon and us, when we got home, we just went to Atlanta with it to go to the Atlanta Tech Village,
Okay.
which we're a part of. And it's just if you know anything about tech, is a lot of money to operate.
Hey, man,
A lot of money.
I
If
believe
you
it.
see
Yeah,
this
yeah. I
setup, yeah.
mean, look, just to, when I get to doing this editing and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, my brain is fried. So I trust me, I get it, man. I get it. You know, what I mean, what? So what are you doing now?
Okay, so I was now I was able to get my class ACDL. So
Okay.
coming from Atlanta, had to move back for my kids. Um, some issues that they had taken going on. So I realized I was attempting to build a legacy for them, right?
Mhm.
But I was doing it 8 hours away in another state. However, I was losing them in the process. So the thing that I was attempting to build wouldn't have had anybody to hold it in place
Mhm.
because I was losing them while I was building it. So when I was hearing what I'm saying, like their hearts in the process. So I came back. So it was like starting all over again.
Right.
And that's what made me, go and get the CDLs because it's like, okay, you have to get another plan
Yeah.
and you need to establish yourself financially as fast as possible.
Right.
And I had a brother who I've seen what he did with his CDLs in a short period of time and how he was able to, you know what I'm saying, secure a foundation for his family through that. So that's what made me
So,
take that route.
what is life like? I don't know. It's probably a crazy question, but what is life like for a felon? You know, but
Hmm.
is it still an issue trying to get a job?
I would say for me, it's been an issue trying to get higher paying jobs,
Okay,
right? Like, so there's a bunch of warehouses, where I'm from, right? So the Targets, the Amazons, the Aces that pays you $20+ an hour,
right.
right? Once it get to that question about your background,
Mm-hmm.
you don't hear from them again.
Mm,
I've applied for these jobs several times, and once it got to the background check, I didn't hear from them again.
right,
So I would say that you do have some barriers, but if you keep going, you're gonna find a job. It may
right,
not be the
right,
job you want, but what I would tell anybody, any felon, is it's better for you to have a skill or a trade.
right,
You get a
right.
skill trade, you're gonna get work anyway.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
So, do you have a family, like wife, kids,
I
or?
don't have a wife. I'm working on
Okay,
it.
okay,
Working on it though. Definitely working on it. I have a son. I have a daughter.
okay.
My son is 15. My daughter's
How
17.
how did that affect them when you was in?
Man, this is the thing. All right, so I didn't know about my daughter until I came home.
Seriously?
Yes, yes. So the first time I met her, she was 15 years old. I did not
Wow.
know she existed until I came home. That's when I found out about her.
See, that had to be a blow.
That was a tremendous blow. Tremendous blow.
How did it make you feel?
Man, it made me feel like, because I always look at self first.
Right,
So it was a it was an accumulation of the decisions I made. You know
right.
what I'm saying? It just made me realize, like, when I was young, I made some poor choices. You know what I'm saying?
I understand
And
that.
my son, I was in a relationship with his mom, so he was always around my family. So he
Gotcha.
used to, come and see me when he could and stuff like that. But at the same time, it affected him by that influence that we're talking about.
Right.
Um, he had to kind of find other avenues and other people to play the role that I should have been playing. Yeah, which was the
Wow.
father. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, but that's still a blow.
Hmm.
I'm still on the 15
Yes.
years, man, of,
Yes,
of
man.
not knowing that you had a daughter.
Mm-mm.
In a sense, I don't know whether it's better to know
Mm.
and still be in, or to not know and find out. I don't know which one is worse.
Yeah,
Um, I imagine either one is six in one hand, half a dozen in the other.
it's true.
But I mean, I'm sure she needs you now. I'm
Absolutely.
sure your son needs you now. And I mean, I'm glad um, to see you out, and you made a change. But what was the crossroads? At what point in your life did you say, I gotta do something different?
So I was I used to read a lot when I was younger, and reading, like I said, it was always an escape for me. Like,
Hmm.
literally, I could read, pick up a book, and I'll be wherever the author takes me. Like,
Right.
I'll be physically present. So during my time in the streets, I kind of got away from that.
Okay.
When I got in prison, I found myself reading again,
Okay.
but this time I would read more spiritual material, more self help material, like more educational stuff.
Right.
So a lot of seeds was being planted in the process, and I was still involved in all of the activities, making wine, selling tobacco, selling weed, and stuff like that. And I called home one day, right? I called home, and my mom said, "You need to call your son because he got into a fight. He got suspended from school."
Hmm.
So I told her to call him. So she clicks over because to make a phone call. Because if you don't, if they hear like the phone ringing, it'll automatically shut the phone call off
Mm.
because they monitor the phone calls.
Okay.
So in the process of her clicking over, it was like time stood still, and I heard a voice, and it was ringing in my ear like hypocrite, 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 hypocrite,
Wow.
and it was like, you in prison, about to call your son and tell him about his behavior on the streets when you in here haven't got your behavior right yet. Like, hypocrite,
Accountability.
hypocrite, hypocrite, accountability. It said you have to be the man you want your son to be, and See, I never felt more guilty ever in my life than I did in that moment. I never felt more convicted than I did in that moment. You talking about somebody who went to trial,
Right.
had a jury trial and a bench trial. I never felt more convicted than I did in that moment. And it was like all of that material that I was reading, that I was studying, those seeds bore fruit right there in that moment. See,
Right.
and instantly, like I realized like I couldn't do what I was doing. So like the little stuff I had in the cell, the little bit of weed, the tobacco, the wine, like I just gave it away.
Hmm.
And I literally in that moment like had a conversation with God, like, okay, I've done everything else. This is what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna try it and I'm gonna try to, do the right
Right.
thing. And from that point, so much started coming to me. You know what I'm saying? So much stuff started coming to me. And that's how eventually I let it get into business and stuff like that. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, it took for me to call my son and have that encounter that
Right.
changed
Right.
everything.
So man, I mean, what's the end game? What is your ultimate goal from this day? From this day forth. And shout out to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's
Happy
Day to
Mother's Day.
everyone.
Most definitely
I
happy
probably
Mother's
should
Day.
have said that from the beginning. So, but happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Most definitely. I'm still working that part out, right? So I told you like having recently just returned, I haven't written it out. Right. We know that you write the vision, you make it plain. So I have ideas, but I have not written a plan. Ultimately, I already know that um, whatever I do is geared towards helping others. So I have several nonprofits that I've written out. I have those outlined.
Hmm.
I just haven't figured out what I want to do for profit to support the nonprofit. So ultimately, it's going to be building the youth. It's going to be assisting mothers with children. All of the different struggles that I've seen in my life
Right.
is going to be geared towards that. So I haven't quite figured out the for-profit side of it yet.
Got you.
But I
Got you.
know that trucking is one of those things that can provide the opportunity to pour into and assist others. So I look forward to what I can do with that.
Trucking is definitely a different world,
Yeah.
man. I mean, and it makes it. You get a lot of solace when
Mhm.
you out there by yourself. A lot of people they talk about the depression, loneliness. You know what I mean,
Mm,
and you get that sometimes. Depending on your situation. But there is a lot of solace
absolutely.
in driving truck, and there's money to be made if you got the right company, if
Yes,
you're
sir.
dealing with the right people, you have the right knowledge, the right
That's
experience.
what I'm here with you, man. Because I need to get some of that wisdom from you
Hey
to make the
man, I
right
look,
decision.
I'm willing to share everything that I can because let me tell you, uh, dealing with me, I have hit rock bottom more than once before I
Mm,
was ever been able to stand on my own 2 feet.
yes, sir.
So there's gonna be a lot of hardship, a
Mm,
lot of downfalls. There's gonna be a lot of wrong turns,
mm.
a lot of wrong turns. Um, but it's how you regroup, it's how you recover, it's how you reset in the trucking industry. Because if you can't do that, if you don't have the discipline to do that, then you might as well not even get into trucking.
Oh, wow.
You're gonna bounce several places until you find the right one. And that's where I'm at now. That's where I'm at in my life now. I'm right where I want to be. I'm comfortable. I'm 10 toes down. Um, I'm able to provide the way that I want to provide.
Man, that's awesome.
So it takes time though. I'm 20 plus years in, and it has taken me quite a stint of my life to get to that point.
Man, that's
You
awesome, man.
know, but again, it's just typically all about who you with and the discipline that you have.
Mm,
You know, um, I know you mentioned that you was hoping to get married. You
absolutely.
know,
Absolutely.
and trucking isn't for everyone,
Mm,
and you need to know that from the jump. Everyone is not strong enough to deal with a truck driver. Because there is a lot of gone time instead of home time.
gone.
You know
So,
what I mean? Um, so keep that in mind. And whoever you're with, make sure that y'all on the same page when this happens. But when this transition happens, it's so easy to say, yeah, I support this, but you go 3 weeks and then all of a sudden that attitude changes,
That's
you
true.
know.
That's true.
Um, so yeah, just make sure you be on the same page with that. But let me ask you, man. So what is your niche, man? I mean, what do you do? That's how do I put this into words? What is the one thing that you can do, to the best of your ability with the least amount of effort?
Always found myself being like a good listener.
Okay.
And the reason why I say it is because I get so caught up in the story of people. And I think that comes from, my love of reading and then having to, be in an environment where you kind of closed off to the world,
Right.
but you're in such close proximity to others
Hmm.
that at times your survival depended on you being able to read people in situations
Hmm.
that I had to learn to listen more than speak. So I've
Okay.
always kind of been, that type of person and an easy listener. So
Right. Right.
um, listening to the needs of people and then now cultivating that into finding ways to meet the need.
I got
So I can hear the need. I had that down. Now I'm is looking for ways to meet the needs of people.
you. Gotcha. Gotcha. So, man, I mean, if you had something to say,
Hmm.
if you had something to get off your chest, if you look at the way the world is moving
Mm,
today, and and I'm gonna use the young ones,
mm,
you know, how they're coming up. Some of them are not being parented. You got some of them that's on the street. I mean, you even got some that's actually got, man, well, good parents, but they still fall on the wrong path. What would you have to say to them today?
boy, I literally had a conversation with my daughter just yesterday, and just letting her know that your current situation is not permanent;
Hmm.
it's temporary. But your decisions is gonna shape and mold how your future gonna be.
Mm, that's
One
real.
decision can put you in position to change your life for the better or change your life for the worse. And I always tell her, like, use me as an example. You don't have to take the route I took. All you gotta do is use me as an example. So I would tell any young person to know and understand the power of your choices and the power of your decisions because you're gonna ultimately decide what happened in your life.
Right.
Your past is your past. Your future is yet to be determined,
Right.
and you decide it. So make the choices that you know will add value to where you want to see yourself at in life.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Absolutely.
But man, look, I'm not gonna keep y'all. Know it's Mother's Day. I know
Yes,
you probably got things that you want to do. I want to say I appreciate you coming back out,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
getting this interview done. I know you, like I said yesterday, we had a few technical
It was just
difficulties.
one. It was just one.
Yeah. So, but I appreciate you coming back out,
Yes, sir.
sharing your story with the audience, man, and I'm hoping that it was something that you may have said
Hmm.
today that was so profound to someone else, that they would be able to take this and uh, uh, let it be instrumental to their life.
Mm.
I'm hoping that there are some young ones that might run across this video, and hopefully they can take something from your book and be
Yes,
like, I okay, I know I need to move in this direction, man.
absolutely.
So look, man, I really appreciate you, man. Hey, look, if you have any socials, man, that you want to shout out to the where people can find you.
I'm trying to think, man. I kind of usually don't be on
Okay.
social media. I used to, but I don't
Okay.
have any social platforms that I'm currently like actively engaged
No
in at the
problem.
moment.
No
Yeah,
problem at all, man. No problem. But look, thank you again. And look, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the
absolutely.
lived experience. Um, if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, share this episode. This is my man, Brian Wilson. Until we meet again, peace out.
Peace.